I made it to the Wisconsin State Capitol. I'm excited to be here. I'm in Madison, Wisconsin, and I'm going to bring you the Wisconsin State Capitol. Like all my videos, I'm going to start with walking outside and around the Capitol, and then I'm going to make my way inside the Capitol to see what we can find out. Without further ado, let's get to it and record the State Capitol grounds of the Wisconsin State Capitol. The Wisconsin State Capitol is located in Madison, Wisconsin, home to around 300,000 people. It houses both chambers of the Wisconsin Legislature, along with the Wisconsin Supreme Court and the Office of the Governor. Completed in 1917, this is the fifth building to serve as the Wisconsin Capitol. And in its history, just like almost every other Capitol I visited, the third Capitol was destroyed by a fire, which set up the opportunity for the fifth Capitol to be in existence. So I talked to a Capitol police officer that was walking around the area, and it turns out what I just missed was the Saturday farmers market. So every Saturday, people who have goods to sell come out here and they sell it at the farmers market, and it goes from around May to about November. In the distance, as you can see, maybe you can't see it, but there's some people up there at the top, and that's promising because maybe I'll get to go outside and look from the Capitol onto the street. Another thing that's pretty cool, if you look in the distance, there are a bunch of statues of folks just sitting down. I'll be curious to know more about the architecture's decision to put those folks up there, and it's probably some type of Greek design, but let's see if we can get a closer look at that as well. One cool, interesting fact about the Wisconsin State Capitol is it's the tallest building in Madison, a distinction that has been preserved by legislation that prohibits buildings taller than the 187 feet columns that surrounds the dome. The Capitol itself is 284 feet, 5 inches tall from the ground floor to the top of the Wisconsin statue that's on top of the dome. The statue is the highest point in Madison on top of the tallest building in Madison. Wisconsin holds a globe surmounted by an eagle, and her right arm is outstretched to symbolize the state motto, Forward. She wears a helmet with the state animal, which is the badger, on top of it. All right, I completed my walk around the outside of the Wisconsin State Capitol, and it was pretty simple. There wasn't much to see, but one thing that was interesting is that the building is in the shape of a cruciform or cross from a top-down view, which means that when I go in there, I'm expecting to have a circular hallway that allows me to see down each of the wings. So I'm excited to see what that's going to look like. The other thing that was interesting is that on each of the ends of the cross, which makes the X, is the only monuments that I saw. So there was 4 monuments that I saw out here. And that's about it for outside. So now that we're done with outside, let's go ahead and make our way inside the Wisconsin State Capitol, if I can find my way in. All right, I'm on the ground floor. Let's see if I can find where the visitor center is so I can get myself a floor map. So one of the things that I started doing is I started going to the tour desk to ask if there's any places that the tour would go that I wouldn't be able to go myself on the self-guided tour. And it turns out in Wisconsin, that is true. You can't go to either you can't go into the chamber areas without being on a tour, and you also can't go into the Supreme Court room without a tour. So I decided to jump on this tour, and hopefully I'm going to learn something that I wouldn't have learned if I did it tour myself. So let's get started. The interior of the Wisconsin State Capitol features 43 varieties of stone from around the world, decorative murals, glass mosaics, and hand-carved furniture. One thing you'll notice if you pay attention is the symmetry surrounding the building. Even the tour guide said, if you're not careful when walking throughout the building, you will easily get turned around thinking that you're on one wing when you're actually on another. The hearing room is used by the legislature for public committee hearings. The murals in the room represent the 4 methods of transportation in Wisconsin from the earliest colonial times to the present day at that time. The murals show horseback, canoe, stagecoach, and identifies modern transportation, which was the steamboat, railroad, automobile, and airplane. In the Supreme Court room, you'll find murals that illustrate historical events that influence Wisconsin law. The Senate chamber is a very attractive circular room. In the front of the room, the mural commemorates the opening of the Panama Canal. Above is a 28-foot circular ceiling skylight of low-tone leaded glass. There are 33 members in the Wisconsin Senate who are elected to a 4-year term. As opposed to a House of Representatives, Wisconsin has an assembly. There are 99 representatives in the assembly who are elected to 2-year terms. In front of the assembly chamber is a mural which shows past, present, and future of the state of Wisconsin. Unfortunately, we couldn't get into the room because of a wedding that was going on. So I asked one of the staff members, can I get a glance? And she let me get a bit of this recording. Check it out, I made it up to the observation deck at the Wisconsin State Capitol, and I was afraid that I was gonna get rained out and not be able to make it up here, but I did. So let's take a look around and see these statues that they have on this building up close. As you can see, the Wisconsin State Capitol is located in the heart of downtown Madison. It is surrounded by both Lake Mendota to the north and Lake Monona to the south. This observation deck is the highest point the public is allowed to go to and is only open from Memorial Day to the first week of November. Inside the 6-level museum that surrounds the dome, you can see displays about the construction of the current Capitol as well as artifacts uncovered during its construction. And you can get a close-up view of the inner Capitol dome from the Rotunda viewing deck. Alright, I did it. I finished my tour of the Wisconsin State Capitol. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see inside the assembly chamber because there was a wedding and it was locked, and so the tour group couldn't go there. And I also didn't get a chance to see the governor's executive chambers or the executive conference room, but that's okay too, because I did get a chance to go on into the dome. The weather did not stop me from doing that, and so that was pretty exciting, and I hope you enjoyed seeing that. So this tour is over, and I hope you enjoyed this Capitol. If you did, give this video a like, and of course stay tuned and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of the Capitol visits. And if you haven't seen the others that I did, be sure to check those out too. And until next time, as always, be safe and go travel. You have everywhere to go see. Peace.